One of my favorite parts about early season NHL hockey is seeing how players perform with their new teams, whether that is a rookie coming into the league, a free agent signing, a trade acquisition, anything like that. And while yes, I know it is still very early and a lot of things can and will change over the next few months, in this video I want to talk about 6 off-season additions that I feel like are already kind of looking like steals. As always, I'm really interested to hear what you guys have to say, so if there's any off-season additions that I don't talk about in this video that you feel like are already looking like steals, be sure to let me know down below in the comments. So with that all being said, let's go ahead and get started. The first player that I want to talk about is a very low profile one. Sam Gagner signed a 1-year $750,000 deal with the Winnipeg Jets in the offseason, a league minimum deal. You cannot sign a one-way NHL deal for any cheaper than that. And through the Winnipeg Jets' first 6 games of the season, Sam Gagner is quietly tied for second on the team in goals with 3. He has more goals than Kyle Connor, more goals than Blake Wheeler, Pierre-Luc Dubois, Nikolai Ehlers. This is a player that I've grown pretty familiar with over the past couple of seasons because he spent 2.5 years with the Red Wings before signing with the Winnipeg Jets, and he's not the kind of guy who's going to put up 45-50 points in a season anymore, but he's just a very useful NHLer that can do a lot of different things. He's effective on both special teams, the penalty kill, and especially on the power play, second power play unit guy. He's not the fastest skater, doesn't have the hardest shot, but he's a great set of hands. He has very high hockey IQ, thinks the game incredibly well. Like I said, certainly not the most high profile player, but I definitely wanted to show Sam Gagner some love because getting a player who has been as impactful as Gagner has been for the Winnipeg Jets through the first couple of weeks here for league minimum, I think that's great value. So shout out Sam Gagner, he's had a really good start to the season. Moving along now to the next player, we have Mason Marchment of the Dallas Stars, signed a 4-year deal with Dallas in the offseason that carries an annual average of $4.5 million. Now this is a deal that a lot of people, including myself, were kind of skeptical of just because of the fact that his breakout season with the Panthers in 21-22 was so random and so out of nowhere. Had 47 points in 54 games, was fantastic while only playing about 14 minutes a night, not really getting any opportunities on the special teams. Last season, Mason Marchment was one of the most efficient players in the NHL at 5-on-5. He had a great year, but the question coming into this season was, is he going to be able to replicate that success in Dallas now that he's likely going to be thrusted into a much bigger role? He's going to get tougher matchups, all that kind of stuff. And through the Stars' first 7 games of the season, the early returns look great on Mason Marchment. His ice time from last season to this season has went from about 14 minutes to 16 minutes. He's getting an opportunity to play on the power play. He already has 2 power play points this season, which is the total he had all of last season on the power play. Mason Marchment is looking like and producing like a legit top 6 forward. I think the fact that the Dallas Stars have him at a cap of just $4.5 million is fantastic, and in my opinion, the term on this contract is perfect as well. Mason Marchment is 27 years old. This is only a 4-year deal. It's going to take him from 27 to 31. Those are usually the best years of a player's career. It's going to take him right through his prime. This deal is already looking fantastic for Dallas. The next player that I want to talk about is the first of 2 Red Wings we're going to touch on in this video. First being defenseman Olli Maatta signed a 1-year $2.25 million deal with the Red Wings in the offseason. Steve Yzerman really made it a point to shore up the left side of the blue line in the offseason, going out and getting the likes of Ben Chiarot and Olli Maatta, who we are talking about now. And while Ben Chiarot got the longer contract, he got more money, and he's the guy that's been playing on the top pairing with Moritz Seider. Olli Maatta, I think, has been much better. He's definitely been Detroit's best left side defenseman so far this season. He's been averaging about 19.5 minutes of ice time per game. He's been killing penalties, and he's been very steady defensively at 5-on-5, and he's also producing a little bit of offense as well. He already has 5 points in 6 games so far. All of those 5 points have came at even strength, and this is a guy who had just 8 points all of last season in 66 games with the Los Angeles Kings. Obviously, I don't think anybody expects Olli Maatta to keep up this offensive production, but it's a really nice bonus considering Detroit really only brought him in to be a defensive anchor, to play with a guy like Filip Hronek and kind of let him loose offensively. Olli Maatta has been a very welcome addition to the Red Wings blue line, and if I'm being honest, I don't think the Red Wings get off to this good of a start without him. Moving along now, we have the one and only goaltender we're going to talk about in today's video, Ilya Samsonov of the Toronto Maple Leafs, a player we touched on a little bit in the most recent Ask Me Anything video. Samsonov signed a 1-year $1.8 million deal with the Leafs in the offseason. Pretty much just like a prove-it deal, because this is a guy who was once viewed as one of the better goaltending prospects in the league, a guy with a ton of upside, the future of the Washington Capitals net. Obviously, Washington decided to go in a different direction, and I'm sure the Maple Leafs are very happy they decided to do that. Samsonov has been the Leafs' saving grace, I would say, so far this season, especially considering Matt Matt Murray went down with an injury and is going to be out long term. In 5 starts so far, Samsonov has a record of 4-1 with a 2.01 goals against average and a .932 save percentage. He's also currently 3rd in the entire NHL in terms of goals saved above expected, currently sitting at 6.04. He's making big saves in crucial moments for the Maple Leafs. He has been great, and the thing that makes this signing and just having this player in the Leafs organization so great for them is the fact that he's still only 25 years old, and he's not even going to be a UFA at the end of the season when his contract is up. He's going to be an RFA. The Maple Leafs, I'd imagine, are going to retain his rights, give him a qualifying offer, especially if he continues to perform at this elite of a level. This is a guy who could be a real long-term option in net for the Maple Leafs, be their starter for the next, 4, 5, 6 years. Moving along now to the next player, we have Colin White of the Florida Panthers, signed a 1-year, $1.2 million deal with the team in the offseason, was a former first-round pick by the Ottawa Senators back in 2015, and his career got off to a solid start, put up good numbers in his first couple stints in the American Hockey League, had a 41-point season with the Senators in 2018-19. Following that 41-point season, the Senators would sign Colin White to a deal that was probably a little bit premature, a deal that Colin White really wasn't ready for. 6 years, $28.5 million total, an annual cap of $4.75 million. Things went downhill pretty quickly after him signing that contract extension. Ultimately, we know how that ended. The Ottawa Senators would buy out the remainder of that contract in the offseason, leading to Colin White becoming a UFA, and the Florida Panthers would take advantage, sign Colin White as a UFA to a 1-year prove-it deal, similar to the Samsonov situation, a guy who was once viewed to have a lot of upside. And again, can't say this enough, it is still very early, but it seems like Colin White has kind of figured things out. He's off to a really hot start in Florida with 6 points through the team's first 7 games. He's actually 2nd on the team in scoring. The only player with more points is Matthew Tkachuk. This is the kind of deal that has all the makings of being a steal for the Florida Panthers. Even if Colin White cools off and finishes the season, around 40 to 45 points, 1.2 mil for a half a point a game player is still fantastic value. And like Samsonov, Colin White is still only 25 years old, and his expiry status on this deal is RFA, not UFA, so the Florida Panthers can keep him around long term if they want. Moving along now to the final player we're going to touch on in today's video, Dominik Kubalik of the Detroit Red Wings signed a 2-year, $5 million deal with the Red Wings in the offseason, an AAV of $2.5 million. Still kind of boggles my mind a little bit as to why the Blackhawks decided to just not qualify Kubalik and Dylan Strome instead of, re-signing them and potentially trying to trade them or something. But hey, as a Red Wings fan, I'm happy the Blackhawks decided to let those guys walk, because Dominik Kubalik has been an absolute monster for the Red Wings so far to start this season. He's already up to 10 points, 4 goals through the team's first 6 games. He's the leading scorer on the team. He's really making the best out of this fresh start, out of this new opportunity. He's getting the chance to play with some really talented players. Currently, with the likes of Vrana and Bertuzzi not being in the lineup, Dominik Kubalik has been skating on the top line alongside Dylan Larkin. He's been on the top power play unit for the entirety of the season so far, and he's really thriving in these situations. This is a guy who has lethal finishing ability. It's not like this production is just coming out of nowhere. Dominik Kubalik is a guy who finished, I think, 3rd in Calder Trophy voting back in 2019-20 when he scored 30 goals with the Hawks as a rookie. Kubalik is a player that throughout his career has kind of been labeled as like a one-dimensional sniper, but what I've really been impressed with is his playmaking ability. 6 assists through 6 games, and his forechecking I think is a lot better than advertised. Really just could not say enough good things about Kubalik's hot start to the season. Obviously, I don't expect him to keep up scoring, above or even at a point per game pace, but even if he finishes the year with 20 to 25 goals and 55 to 60 points, $2.5 million for that kind of production is fantastic value. So that is going to wrap up today's video. Those were 6 off-season additions that in my eyes are already looking like steals for the teams that signed these players. Like I said at the beginning, I'm really interested to hear your guys' thoughts, so if there's anybody that I didn't talk about in this video that you feel like is already looking like a steal from the offseason, be sure to let me know down below in the comments. And while you're down there, if you could, please be sure to drop a like on the video. That is the best way to show your support. And most importantly, if this was your first time checking out the channel and you want more NHL content just like this, be sure to hit that subscribe button, and I'll talk to you all soon.